5.
Yes.
Today we're doing scary stories.
And if this is the first time you see us, if this is the first time you encounter us, make sure you follow.
Yes.
Because we're going to be doing this
Every Wednesday. We post every Wednesday.
We do.
Let's get started.
Okay. I'm going to start with one that I found. The title, it's very general, says, I never believed in urban legends, but this one got me.
What's an urban legend?
Urban legends are legends or stories that get spread out. You could say locally, or it can go from local to being more well known. So not only your city knows it, but maybe the state or the country knows it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, it started when I found an old VHS tape at the flea market. The label was blank, but curiosity got the best of me. That night, I dusted off my old VCR and popped the tape in. The screen flickered, and for a moment, I thought it was blank. Then grainy footage of a room appeared. The camera was shaky, as if someone was filming with an unsteady hand. The room was empty except for a single chair in the center. As I watched, a figure slowly entered the frame. It was a man, his face obscured by shadows, wearing outdated clothes that looked like they were from the 80s. He sat in the chair, staring directly into the camera for what I felt like hours. He just sat there unblinking. Just as I was about to turn it off, the man spoke. His voice was distorted like a bad recording. If you're watching this, it's already late. You see, this tape is cursed. It shows you the last thing you'll see before you die. I laughed nervously, but a chill ran down my spine. The screen went black, then the footage cut to a different room, my room. I stared in disbelief as the camera panned around, showing every detail. The unnamed bed, the poster on the wall, even the pile of laundry in the corner. Then the camera turned to show the door. Slowly it cracked open. My heart raced as I watched the figure step into the room. It was the same man from the first clip, but the first time his face was clear, pale, gaunt, with hollow black eyes. I heard a noise behind me and whipped around, but there was nothing there. I turned back to the screen and the man was closer now, almost at the foot of my bed. My breath caught in my throat as he reached out, pointing directly at me through the screen. Suddenly the screen went black. I sat there trembling, trying to rationalize what I'd just seen. Maybe it was a prank, I thought. Maybe someone was messing with me. But then I heard the floorboard creak. The same creak I just heard from the tape. I slowly turned around, my heart pounding in my ears. The door to my room was slowly opening. The last thing I saw was a pair of hollow black eyes staring at me. If you ever find an unmarked VHS tape, do yourself a favor, leave it alone.
That reminds me of the movie, The Shining. Not The Shining. Of the long girl going through the TV.
The Ring?
The Ring.
The girl of the Ring?
Yeah, that reminds me of that because isn't that like the VHS tape? Like, if you're watching this, it's already too late.
It's something like
It's
that,
something.
but it's not like the same font. I don't know if to say. Obviously, this is probably like, of course, just a scary story,
Mm-hmm.
but and it feels like a little impossible.
Yeah.
Like prove me wrong, please. Like I want you to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about a VHS, with how outdated VHSs are,
Mm-hmm.
for it to get to that level, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that story is kind of baloney.
Yeah, but it was. I mean,
it was good.
If I can say it's a good sketch.
Oh yeah, 100%. She's a good writer.
Film that out, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a nice short story film kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I found it and I liked it, so I was like, might as well share it.
Okay. I have another one that I found on True Scary Stories. So these are based on true events.
Okay. I have some true and some.
Yeah, of course. Like some may be fake. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. The title for this is I Almost Got Kidnapped or Murdered? Question mark. A few months ago, I left my friend's house at about 3 or 4 in the morning. Horrible time to leave a friend's house.
I guess.
Probably friends with benefits.
Crazy.
I was 17 and drove a very recognizable blue car with stickers on the back. As I was on the road leading to my neighborhood, I realized that this car behind me has been there for a very long time. It was a bigger white car and their brights were on, so I couldn't see who was inside. I got extremely suspicious and I decided to drive past my neighborhood into a different one. I turned left into a neighborhood and then made a right. They were still behind me. I made another right and another until I was out of the neighborhood. I made an extremely sharp turn right back into that neighborhood, and this white car made the exact same movements that I did. I was so scared and afraid to look away from the road for even 1 second, so I didn't grab my phone to call the police. Okay, I guess that's.
I mean, in a moment of danger, that's like my first instinct.
Yeah, but
like,
he didn't.
They cannot really tell you anything because you're like in that fight or flight, you know?
Yeah, she was trying to focus on the road, but I can see why. Okay. And I've been to this neighborhood a couple of times, and I knew that it had some dead ends for resident driveways. I was terrified I would end up in one. I made a bunch of crazy turns and pressed on the gas, trying so hard not to panic or turn into a dead end. I lost sight of them for a second and quickly parked my car in between two others that were parked, and I ran out of the car into a dark area between two houses where I sat behind a bush crying and shaking. I waited a while with stealth. I waited a while before I got up and walked around the neighborhood with stealth until the coast was clear. Sorry. I knew they would recognize my car, and I didn't know what would happen if I was still inside. Did I do the right thing? Is there a better way to prevent this? Call the police.
As you were in that bush,
Yeah.
I would say call the police.
Yeah. Something else that I feel like she did, but not really. If you feel like you're getting like stalked or followed, and you're in a car, do 4 right turns. Because if you do 4 right turns continuously, that's a whole roundabout. And if a car is following you, that confirms that they're following you because you did a roundabout for no reason, you know? So do that roundabout, and if they're still following you, call the police. Yes, you're scared of the road, but call the police.
I mean, I think she sort of did something like
she
that.
Did left and turns.
And she did a hella sharp turn.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess. But I'm just saying in case it happens again.
Like a hella sharp turn that no one would like really take, and they did it too. So
scary.
Yeah,
scary, guys.
Honestly, I don't know what I would do if I saw someone following me. Have I seen before? Yes, but from my point of view, it was out of a creep intention. Like I hope not the other kind. Okay. But it was like in a creepy moment where I was just getting followed, like, and a story was also because it's those moments that you lose your mom. You know?
Yeah.
And you know how you're like looking behind you, like acting like, oh, whatever, what is here, whatever, this, that, and you do like a turn, and then they follow. You do another turn, they're still behind you, and you just keep seeing the face, and it's just the vibe. It's just not correct.
I get you.
Yeah, that has happened to me, and it's.
If someone follows me in my car, I would be confused because I'm a man. But men still get kidnapped. But I would also do, like, if I feel like they were following me, I would not go to my destination. I would just drive around. And if they're still following me, I'll just call the police and be like, hey, there's someone behind me. I'm not going to stop at all. Just, can you get them? Of course, I will be freaked out, you know.
Yeah. I have a story here. The title just says, is my best friend dead?
Am I dead? I'm not dead.
I'm not. Me and my friends used to love exploring abandoned houses. We lived in a small ghost village. Most houses here are abandoned and almost 100 years old. It was always me, my best friend, and 2 other friends that went exploring. Wow. One night we went to a big house that was placed in a big forest. The house looked over 90 years old and sent shivers down our spines. We explored the house late at night, climbed to the windows, and jumped in as the door wouldn't open. It smelled horrible, as almost like meat rotting, and there was giant bugs everywhere. I was exploring the first floor with my best friend as my 2 other friends were exploring the second floor. Suddenly, we heard a loud scream coming from the forest. All of us jumped off the house and looked at the pitch black path leading into the dark forest that you couldn't even see. My best friend wanted to go and see where the scream came from, but me and my other friends insisted on going on going home, or at least staying by the house because of how scared we were. My best friend called us cowards and ran onto the dark path and disappeared with the darkness coming from the forest. We heard a scream 5 minutes after she disappeared. We ran into the forest, but we couldn't find her anywhere. We went home and called the police for help. Weeks and weeks passed and turned into months, but she was still nowhere to be found. It has been 4 years now, and my friend was never found. Me and my friends decided to go back to that house to remember our friend, as that was the last place we ever saw her. The house looked exactly the same, but it was a little hard to see. I tried focusing a bit at the house, and then I saw something in the window. It was a shadow, or maybe I was just seeing nothing. It was dark, and I probably just saw an illusion. We went into the house, and the air was hard to breathe in, like it was really heavy. My mind felt foggy and I felt sick. My friends didn't feel anything. They just felt fine, apparently. I went to the first floor, the same place I explored with my best friend. I felt weird, like I was almost connected to her. Her face kept popping into my head and almost like I could hear her voice. Then suddenly I heard it. Find me. Those words were whispered into my ear. It sounded like her voice. I turned around in shock, thinking that one of my friends were pulling a prank on me, but no one was behind me. I went up to the second floor and told my friends I felt nauseous and wanted to leave. It's been almost 3 weeks since this happened. I still can't figure it out if it was all real. Was my best friend that shadow? Did she whisper into my ear? Could that be her, or am I just hallucinating perhaps? Is she even alive? What should I do? Is my best friend dead?
That is scary.
That is terrifying.
I would never go to that house.
Really?
I have seen multiple videos of Anna.
If I disappeared.
If you disappeared in a haunted house?
Not in the haunted house. I was like, you all are pussies. I'm gonna go explore.
Now you're the pussy because you just got lost.
And I went to explore. 5 minutes later, you heard a scream, and I was never found again. Would you go back to the house 4 years after I've been missing?
I would go back to that house a week after or the next day with like 5 other people and some guns. And flashlights in the morning, like lights everywhere, guns on my arms and everything.
Oh my god.
I'm ready. I am ready to kill whatever got you, and we're getting you back. Stranger Things shit. All right?
What if I what if I just find me?
What?
I mean, I pop up and I say, find me.
Find me. Oh my god.
What did you say? Was it 4 years later?
Was it? I think it was 4 years later.
4 years, yeah. It has been 4 years now, and my best friend was never found.
Why would you go back after 4 years?
They were doing it to remember her. For memories, I guess.
Did they go back at night or in the morning? Do they know?
I think at night.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And the only one that was feeling bad was the best friend. The other friends were feeling fine.
Stupid. Anyways, I'm sorry for your best friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry about that.
But I would not have been in the haunted house. Me and Anna call, and one time she was screen sharing an Instagram page or TikTok page about a guy exploring haunted, or not haunted, just abandoned houses in the middle of the forest.
Yeah.
And I just got thrown off. I was like, do not catch me there. It looks gorgeous. It looks so cool. Do not catch me there, because I know something's gonna happen. And if you want to go and you force me there and you get lost, I better come back after 4 years and with guns and everything.
4 years.
4 years.
After 4 years with guns.
Yeah, 4 years is your time to think about what you've done. And then, yeah. Anyways, here's my story. Here's my story.
You're so messed up.
Here's my story. Horrifying quarantine experience.
Whew.
Yeah, everyone had a bad quarantine experience.
Yeah.
I was upstairs in my room one night playing video games with the volume really loud when I thought I heard noises coming from downstairs. I always get that when I'm playing games, but like across the kitchen, I always get scared. I muted the TV and listened closer. Nothing. I resumed playing the game after another hour when I heard it again, only louder. I was sure I heard it this time and was a little freaked out. To assure myself, I went downstairs to the basement where I thought I heard the noise coming from. As soon as I opened the basement door, I was hit with a cold breeze. I went downstairs and saw a window wide open. Hell no. Hell no.
Hell no.
I was 100% sure I had closed it. Hell no. And locked all the windows in the house. Hell no. Sorry. I was ready to make a run for it when something stopped me. I turned around and for the first time noticed the closet door was slightly cracked open. I stood for what seemed like 30 minutes in front of the door, debating whether to open it or not. I moved closer and put my hand on the doorknob. All of a sudden, I heard a creepy crackle coming from inside the closet. I have never run faster up the flight of stairs before. I locked the door and called the cops, who had unusually fast response time. They came in and searched the house, and not even 5 minutes into the search, I heard a gunshot from downstairs. A few minutes later, they come out with a deranged-looking man, probably homeless. They put him in the back of the car and told me that they opened the door and the man was holding a gun at them and missed. He luckily missed, and the cops disarmed him and arrested him. The scariest part was how close I was from opening that door and likely being murdered.
My God.
I'm not saying that that's fake, but that feels
real.
That could have been real.
That could have been real.
That could have been real.
And that is, oh my God. That's one thing I like. I don't know about any other state, but in Florida, houses, you cannot open these windows. Like, you cannot open the window here.
In Florida, you can't open windows.
It's like impossible.
Yeah.
Also because of like, hurricanes, this and that. But like, that safety measure is like insane, and it also honestly doesn't bother me.
Like, I have never opened my windows the whole time I live in my house.
Yeah.
I don't open my windows.
I guess you probably can. Still, you have like a little thing that like protects it because hurricanes, whatever. But honestly, it doesn't bother me that I can't open them.
Yeah,
it's like I'm fine, and I don't know why I would need to.
Why do I need to open a window?
I mean, I get it if you're like living in like this certain specific area, where maybe you don't have a smoke thing on your house and you need to let out smoke.
I guess so.
Or like smell or whatever, but no.
I just leaving your window open
like in
throughout
my
the
prior
day,
house,
that's terrifying.
Like in my prior house, we used to have windows and we would open it,
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a window in my room, I would open the window, the window everywhere. We have windows. But here is like, you don't need that.
That guy missed. He sucks at shooting.
It was probably homeless man.
It was.
They're like deranged, like
deranged homeless man.
I understand why he could miss, but if it was her, he probably wouldn't have.
Yeah,
because she has no protection. She has no. She's in a state of shock.
Yeah, in Florida, if that happened, the homeless guy probably got shot. Would have probably gotten shot. A policeman. Oh, pew! Oh, all right, it's my turn. That's how it goes here in Florida. Yeah. That's scary.
That is terrifying. That reminds me of this one. All right, did I talk about it already?
What?
Do you remember?
See it.
When I like told you about like there's a guy at my door and I don't know what to do. Did I tell you that?
Like outside?
Yeah.
I think so.
At night. And I didn't know what to do, and I genuinely had to wake up my parents.
Oh, I think yeah. But what was it? Yeah, but who was it?
You were in that car, right? I was in a car with you.
Yeah. But who was it?
Some random dude.
Some random dude?
I have no clue.
Who
I was terrified. I was in my bed.
Uh-huh.
I think at some point I was like talking to you. I hang up. I'm like gonna go to sleep, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what, like 1 to 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
You hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Each 5 minutes, I counted the minutes. It was each 5 minutes you would hear a knock on my door. The guy would walk up to my door, knock, walk away. 5 minutes, come back and knock. I was shitting myself. I was terrified to death. And I was just seeing the shadow come in and out because, in the street there's like light and my room was completely dark. So you can see every shadow that may go by. And I saw the shadow from my window of the guy going back and forth. And I was like, what is going on? I'm so scared. It happened. He kept doing it for 30 minutes.
Who opened the door?
I'm getting there.
Oh my God.
30 minutes. and I am terrified. He got to the point where he was literally kicking the door.
Mm-hmm.
It was so bad. I had to wake up my parents. My parents were not hearing it. I was the only one hearing it because I was like on the break of falling asleep, but I was still awake. And it's like right there for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk all the way to my parents' room, and I'm like, Dad, like I'm scared, or like Mom, Dad, both. I'm scared. There's a guy knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do. Look, he's been doing it for 30 minutes. Each 5 minutes he comes back, and it's been 30 minutes, and he's been knocking on the door. I'm terrified. Both of my parents got alarmed, turned on the lights, turned on the house lights, whatever. It was some my dad is the one that didn't even open the door. He talked through the door because he saw through the little hole.
People.
And it was some random guy. No one knows where he was from, but he was pissed at us, saying that we were in his spot, that we were on his like parking spot, this and that, and we were like, well, no. And then he's like, you guys are the owners of the something brown truck? And we're like, we don't own a brown truck. Like, what? And then he just backs up and says, oh, sorry. And then my mom screamed at him, like, you can't just be knocking on people's doors at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's insane. You were literally like putting the guilt on something that wasn't even us. And he was just knocking our door. He wasn't knocking any other. He was knocking ours.
Mm-hmm.
So make that make sense.
That guy was stupid.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, I get
you know, he can literally get arrested. He could literally get arrested for doing something like that.
Mm.
Like, oh my god, my head hurts just thinking about it. Yeah. Let me see. I think I have a story, even though I kind of just said one.
Kind of did.
Yeah, I kind of did. Anyway, you guys love it though. Pick one or two.
Two.
Okay, you picked the short one. This one's silly.
Go ahead.
The Santa decoration.
The Santa decoration.
It's super short, but
all right,
guys, hear this out.
Let's hear it.
It stood there silently with that stupid cheery smile stretching from one glossy cheek to the other.
God damn.
His painted over eyes glimmered under the Christmas lights as a dimming jello bulb flickered inside of him. I don't know why my mom bought that thing. It's just so ugly. I can't get my eyes off of it every time I walk through the living room. It always stands there with its back to the front windows of our house, with one cracked, stubby hand raised to the sky in a wave. Sometimes I go outside and stare at it to get a better look of this thing before I smash it to bits. I don't care if I'm grounded for a day, a week, 2 weeks, anything. I'm doing a good thing for this family. No one else seems to notice or care. They act as if everything is normal, but I know for sure this thing pupils shouldn't dilate.
There was a fly.
Yeah.
While you were reading.
Yeah, it was very distracting.
Okay. Look.
It's like a super small one.
So it's just a Santa that she doesn't like?
But the Santa's pupils, whenever you flash a light, it dilates.
Oh, wow.
Dilates? Dilates. Sorry. There you go. Dilates.
I'm also stupid, so I don't know.
Yeah, dilates. Well, that's low-key terrifying. I don't think have you ever been scared, Santa?
No. I found out Santa wasn't real from my uncle.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say my story.
It was like 12 in the morning, and then my mom was like, "Oh my god, let's take a photo of Santa and then show it to Brian. He'll be convinced Santa's real." And then my uncle, took a photo of him with a hat and a beard and glasses, whatever, and him hiding behind a car. And then my mom took a photo of him hiding in the car, but they forgot that the car has a gap in the bottom. So I saw Santa with super thin legs with sandals.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, wait, what? And then I was like, yeah, he's not real.
Aww.
Yeah, it's okay though. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Are you scared of Santa?
No.
Okay.
He's goofy.
Goofy, man. I found something terrifying in my walls. You started college. Congratulations.
Congrats.
And this place seemed perfect. Affordable rent, close to campus, and modern. and modern. But from the first night, I started hearing banging noises coming from the walls. It's rats. Anyways, at first I thought it was just a very old building settling, or maybe noisy neighbors. The banging wasn't constant, but it happened frequently enough to keep me awake at night. It sounded like someone was hitting the walls with their fists. I asked the neighbors, but they all said that they didn't hear anything. I even mentioned it to the landlord, and he brushed it off, saying the building had character. The building had character, the landlord said.
You don't say that.
Huh?
You don't say that.
You don't say that. One night, the banging was so loud and persistent that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I noticed that the noise was always coming from the same spot and my bedroom wall. So I figured out I'd open it up. I made an excuse to myself that I needed to run some electrical wiring. I had been wanting to set up a better sound system for my studies and relaxing time, so it seemed reasonable enough.
Let me just open a whole wall on this place I'm renting.
I would do that. I borrowed.
You would pay that bill.
I borrowed some tools from a friend and started to carefully cut into the drywall. My heart was racing, but I kept going. When I finally made a big enough hole to see inside, I shined a flashlight into the dark. What I saw made my blood run cold. There, inside the wall, was a man. His eyes were wide but lifeless. His mouth was covered with duct tape, and his hands were tied behind his back. It was clear he had been dead for a long time.
I would cry.
But the sight was still horrifying. I stumbled back, nearing dropping the flashlight, and called the police immediately.
I would freeze. I would cry. I would cry so much.
So there was a dead guy on the walls? Then what was making the banging noise?
The spirit. Brian, like I'm telling you, like you don't just hear that and then it's like a cry. It's like a silent cry for help. I don't know.
I think it was a landlord because he was like, brush it off. That's the character.
How would it be the landlord
I don't know.
if that wall was like it was like enclosed?
I don't know. Landlord.
It was an enclosed body on a wall.
That's scary though. I would freeze. I would
cry. I would instantly cry.
Those lifeless eyes.
I would instantly cry. That would like disturb me for life. And I would better get my money back.
Oh yeah.
And I moved to a different location.
Oh yeah.
Because I am not gonna live in the place that I knew there was a body in my walls.
Mm-hmm.
No, I better get my money back, and I don't know. The state pays me more money. Like,
the state.
No, like honestly, that's traumatizing.
I would sue the landlord.
Like literally 19 years old, starting college, and you have to deal with that. No, bro. No. I mean, you have a good story now for campus, but
yeah.
At what cost?
Make a movie out of it.
Literally.
Yeah, that's scary though.
Okay, so there's one. This is kind of like a crazy one because it's like, I think real.
Okay.
Because I've heard something about this before. Mm-hmm. It's just now like I encountered it and I was like, oh my god, wait, I have to like tell it. It's called starless gazing.
Starless gazing.
It has two parts. I'm gonna say them because it's like super quick.
Okay.
I used to like stargazing. In fact, for almost all my life, I would stare into the sky. Even if it was a hotel, at my house, with my friends, at cemetery, even for a moment, I would stare up and search until I met a star. That changed last week. I can't remember what I did to that point. What I did up to that point. I can't even remember where I was. I looked up to the sky, waiting the first star as the sun went down. Then I thought I saw the sun again. I didn't. I thought it was somehow getting bigger. Then I felt a warmth in my face. I don't know what it was. It looked like a ball of light. When I got closer, I started seeing things. Some things I can't even understand. Throughout the cloud of random images and colors, I saw a better world. No rent, no dumbass boss, no deadbeat parents. Suddenly, it felt like I was being pushed towards it. I tried to move away. I tried to run. Nothing happened. My legs weren't taking me anywhere. Eventually, they just give up on their own. I felt myself getting closer and closer to it. My body moved on its own, inching closer and closer until I woke up in a police station the next day. They said I had been missing for 6 days and 16 hours. Something had been burned into my back. 2, 11, 14, 15. When I left the station, I felt like I was being watched, but not by a human or an animal or a camera. Like I was being watched by something that I wasn't supposed to see. I felt a burning sensation. I don't look up anymore. If I know I'm going to look at the sky, I won't do it. I can't sleep anymore. There aren't any more stars. They left us. And then he repeats the same numbers that were put on his or her back 3 times. I don't want to say them. And then there's a leaked email, and it says, note, this is from an actual leaked email, and I'm following up the post. From name to the guy. It's a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I hope you understand why I'm contacting you. Usually I would call the representative of police office department, but this is urgent. As you remember, last Friday, you put Even Hazel Morden into the custody of your police station, cited under the evaluation of her condition. Several strange markings, such as the number, burned into her lower back, and a pentagram on her palm and forehead, relating to the occult. This would cause detrimental damage to the town's image, which is already low due to censored by privacy, evolution to the satanic panic of the 60s. We are only being funded by tourists and the nearby church. I ask you to remove any statements and avoid making any about what happened, and to not release any of this data to the public. Understand, Eve Hazel Morden does not exist. The town is completely safe. Do not go past the church at night, even if aggressive force is necessary. Understood? After further researching, I couldn't find anything. It's like she was whipped from history. I still don't know what the numbers mean. If any of you find anything relating to it, please tell me.
I'm confused immediately. What happened?
I would say he was put on some drugs.
But no, I'm confused with what happened. Like what she see, what he see.
He saw something that he shouldn't have, because it feels kind of like a Mandela catalog kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He was shown a world where everything was fine, but at the same time, it felt like he didn't have control over his own body.
Okay.
So this night that he was just stargazing, or he was attempting to, things went south because he was under drugs thanks to this possible occult group. Looks like that's been going on since the 60s. It looks like this happened to some other girl too, but they whipped her existence out of the history for the sake They wiped her history out of for the sake of the town and to keep the tourist popularity up.
Oh wow!
Oh, sorry, I just hit the mic.
Wow.
And he doesn't know what those numbers mean, and I don't know what they mean either.
It's a cult.
Yeah,
it's a cult.
But he was generally drugged to get literally taken, done that, and then found the next day at a police station and say that you were missing for 6 days and 16 hours.
I didn't know cults were so... It's a fly. I didn't know cults were so how do you say it? So interesting until I watched Hereditary. I watched Hereditary with another friend, and it was so mind-boggling. I want to watch Midsummer and just see how that cult goes.
It's interesting. I watched it.
Have you seen Midsummer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched it on my own just one day because I was bored, and it's surely something. It's a good film. A really good film, amazing cinematography, and the story you need to really see between lines to get the full image, and that's something I love a lot.
Gotcha.
But it's really good, and yeah, cold work, it's terrifying. Have you seen? There's something that's been going around that's about the Shenyang. Have you seen this thing that they sometimes even give you in the mail? They put it everywhere, like around America, honestly.
Say it.
That is about Shenyang, and it's like a Chinese dance. They hosted it at Adrian Arts Center.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Well, this is a thing that I myself seen, and I was like, oh my god, I want to go. That sounds so cute. And it always has the same title, same wording, same everything, and it has to do with China before communism. That's like their thing, and they show you China before the communism, and they're gonna show you, like, always the posters have Chinese dancing with the long sleeves, with the artistic dancing, and it looks really pretty. So people are like, oh my god, let's go, but no one ever does, because time, because this, because that. Some people have gone. That's a cult.
Really?
That's a show that's a cult in disguise, covering itself up with the show to convince others to follow the cult. They give you this nice scene, because the thing about Shenyang, I think it's Shenyang, it's that they go for the people in need. Many people that have joined the cult have expressed that they joined Shenyang because they were out of options in life. They couldn't pay for medical bills. They couldn't pay for the treatments they needed. Her daughter needed, their son, whatever, needed. So Shenyang told them that if you follow our steps, if you use our medication, if you use our this, you're going to get better. They did. So they devoted their lives to Shenyang. And this cult happened. And it's pretty much like a cult that it's trying to take over China. It's a whole thing. I was amazed looking at the story and about some people that escaped the cult for a better life. And so how this girl was literally born into Shenyang because her mom gave everything to Shenyang to have her daughter. It was like a whole thing. And dude, cults work in mysterious ways.
Yeah, I know this. I know this cult that's still up. You guys
Shenzhen's still up too.
Oh yeah, if you
big, huge cult.
If you want to know about this other big cult, it's called Scientology.
Yes, Scientology.
Holy moly.
That's insane.
I saw Scientology is in like in LA, and they try to recruit people from just the road and the street and be like, hey, want to do this test about like what your personality is, and they invite you in this building, and then you can't leave because they're like, oh no for real, do this thing, and then like the only way to escape is like people being
is by finishing it.
Is by finishing it, but when you finish, you're like trapped into this cult, right? And then you're like signed up. You're like it's so bad.
I saw some girl that I saw did it, and she did it and left. She said that it was like 7 hours in the building. They didn't recruit her or anything because you can literally just leave and block all contact. It's on you if you want to go back, but looks like they just gave her a paper saying like, oh, I don't know, you're weird, like you're like depressed or something, I guess, and an arrow going down. That was her result.
Wow.
For 7 hours.
That was like they were trying to manipulate her, but they couldn't. Like, why is it not working for her?
And that was her like sharing like her story of 3 cults she has joined. She put Scientology as probably the best out of the 3. Worst part. There was
a story that I watched yesterday, and it was this guy who loves Scientology. He was getting interviewed, and him and his wife were both in Scientology, and they love Scientology. They were in the cult. They were actively members in the cult. But there's this rule that if you I lost my train of thought. There's this guy, right?
Love Scientology.
Whatever,
love
right?
Scientology, and there's this rule.
Yeah. There's this rule in Scientology that if you are in Scientology, you have to cut all connections with people who got kicked out of Scientology. Right? Okay. So this guy was still in Scientology, and his wife got kicked out. His wife got kicked out of Scientology, and then Scientology said, hey, we kicked your wife out. You cannot have any more contact. You can never see or listen or talk to your wife anymore. And the guy was so sad. He was crying in the interview. He He was crying. He was like, I did not want to leave Scientology, but I love my wife. So he left Scientology. And him leaving Scientology meant that his grandma and his grandpa was also in Scientology, and their grandkids were also in Scientology, so they couldn't talk to them anymore. And the grandparents and the grandkids stayed in Scientology, and they live a street away from each other, and they just can't talk.
The grandkids, you mean his son?
His sons and daughters.
Wow.
Can't see him anymore.
That's insane. Until they get kicked too, maybe.
Yeah, kicked or
or out of it.
But yeah, guys, cults are crazy. If you know a cult, please comment it down. We want to do some research on that.
Oh my god, we could do like an episode about cults.
Yeah, cults. If you guys like it, and then put some interesting cults down below.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was interesting, guys. Guys, we have the description of everything down below. We have our personal Instagrams, our podcast Instagram, and we have many other things in the description.
Yeah.
We post every Wednesday.
And life's getting a bit busy for us.
Very.
But we're still trying to keep up. I promise that little by little, maybe some clips will come out here and there. Mm-hmm. It's getting tough, but we're still producing.
Fall is about to start, guys.
Yeah, fall is about to start. Fall is a big time for us that we are, as we were saying in this one story, we are 19, 20 in college. And we need and I have a job too. Yeah. So we're trying to level everything out, and we don't want to leave this behind.
We have school, work, and then our own personal passions.
Yeah.
So and this. So we'll try to figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, thank you for watching.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.